Hey ladies, I'm Courtney Labree. Welcome back to my channel. So recently I have seen a lot of creators talking about how 2025 is going to be their no buy year. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really here for it. I plan on doing a strategic buy year for 2025. Now, quick disclaimer, I have done a no buy year. I've actually done a couple of years as a no buy year. And let me tell you, it is not for the weak. It takes a lot of discipline, a lot of effort. But if you have a goal that you're aiming for, it's a really great habit to practice. So let's take it a step back. For 2024, I did not do any big purchases. Like I really just doubled down on my self-care and really taking care of my mental health. I kind of shared how I battled postpartum depression and anxiety throughout 2023. So 2024 was a big recovery year for me. I just really doubled down on my mental health. And quite honestly, best thing I ever could have done for myself. Like I definitely want to continue the habits and things that I fit into my budget in 2024 and roll that right on over to 2025. For 2025, I do have to be a little bit more strategic because I do love to travel. I love to eat out and I do love shopping. Okay. I like to shop. I have to really strategize my year and what that's going to look like for me. So one of my favorite quotes is proper preparation prevents poor performance. And baby, if you have a plan, anything is possible. So we are going to plan our strategic 2025 buy year. First things first, do you have an emergency fund? Now, I will say one thing's for certain, it's going to rain. You're going to have a rainy day. And if you're like me, when it rains, it pours. Like my emergencies that pop up, I'd be like, Lord, why me? I'm sure some people can relate. If you followed Dave Ramsey, you know his emergency fund recommendation is $1,000. And what I've learned kind of the hard way is that my emergencies usually don't cost $1,000. They're usually a little bit over. So I stack my emergency fund accordingly. I think a great rule of thumb is to just kind of consider all of your expenses, your monthly expenses, right? So let's say, for example, you spend $2,500 a month. You know for sure $2,500 covers all of your bills. For me, my emergency fund will be $2,500 just in the event that I need to cover something. And that's just kind of like my rule of thumb. I think $1,000 though is still a great starting point. However, if you're like me, you've learned the hard way that sometimes your emergencies cost a little bit more than $1,000. I would say beef her up just a little bit more. Another habit that I like to exercise is paying myself first. Everybody gets a cut out of your pay before you even touch it. You have to pay your taxes. And if you're like me and you like to buy handbags, we are so quick to give someone else, these fashion houses, brands, whoever, our funds before we even put aside money for us. And so that is one habit that I really do try to exercise is paying myself first. Before I give my money out to these brands, before I decide to invest in a new handbag, did I put money aside for me? I have to pay myself first. I personally like to put aside 10%, and this is just my way of saying to myself, good job, girl. You working hard. We see you. We're paying you before we decide to spend any funds. So we have our emergency fund. We're paying ourselves first. And this is where I feel like we're getting to the good part. So this is where we're picking out our items. Now, I love doing my wish list every year just to see what I have my eye on and what I want to work towards. Now, sometimes I will say my lists are not that very realistic. And then sometimes I make them a little bit more obtainable. It's really just what I have my eye on for the year. But I really do feel like this is the fun part, right? Because it gets you something to work towards. I really feel like you can apply this to anything that you would like to obtain, whether it be, you wanting to get new things for your house, or get a new car, or even buy a new tech gadget. I feel like having a wish list gives you a goal. So one item that has been on my wish list has been my Chanel XXL flap. This bag is so beautiful to me. And after all of these years of having it on my wish list, I've actually seen it in person and it made me want the piece even more. When I first put this on my wish list, this bag was so hard to come by on the pre-love market. And now that Chanel has re-released this flap, it's way more structured. It's just a beautiful bag. Now hear me out. As much as I love bags and shopping, I love my house and completing my house a little bit more. And it took me a while to realize that, but now I'm in a place where I'm like, okay, we can save, we can work towards it. But then I think about like the funds that I spend on this handbag, I could do so much in my house. So that's kind of like I don't know, playing both sides here. Knowing that I have this item on my wish list and I know the price point gives me something to work towards. And that leads me to my next point. It's time to get to work. It's time to do the work. Now, of course, we can always increase our income. That is one way to get the items that you desire. But another way that you can achieve this goal is by really looking at your expenses. I would hope that if you're watching this video, you already have a budget, you know what a budget is. So I don't have to go into those details, but look where you can cut costs. And this is like probably one of my favorite things to do because 9 times out of 10, we are spending unnecessary funds on things we don't use or don't need. I am such a stickler at like looking at my statements, look at what's pending, what's posted. I don't know why. It's like is it a guilty pleasure? It's probably a guilty pleasure. I don't know. My husband thinks I'm weird for that, but blame Dave Ramsey because I literally know where every dollar goes. But it's really just a great exercise to reevaluate your expenses and see really where your money is going. Now, I had talked in an old video about how I had a very bad Starbucks habit and I kicked Starbucks, and I will say proudly, I can count on one hand how many times I go to Starbucks like in a year. Like last year, I think I maybe did Starbucks maybe like 4 times for like tea. I just can't do the $9 coffees. Yeah, I would much rather have coffee at home. However, last year, I did some damage on eating out. I ate out a lot last year, like much more than what I would like to admit. Could I have bought the Chanel XXL flap with the funds that I spent on eating out last year? We'll just say, yeah, I could have. Seeing how much I ate out though in 2024 really does make me want to reevaluate how much I eat out in 2025, because those same funds that I spend on eating out, while they're a great experience and I do love me a nice meal, I would like to put that towards something, I would rather have in my closet or invest in my house. Who knows? Whatever the case may be, I just feel like the funds that I've spent on eating out, I could have used it towards something else. Now, does that mean that I'm gonna like completely stay out of restaurants for 2025? No. And I did that too for a year. The year that I did no buy, you guys, that is hard. So I'm saluting all the people that are really trying to, stick to the no buy year. But it's hard. It's gonna be interesting to hear what people report back. Getting into the habit of reevaluating your expenses really does let you see where your money is going. Do you want it to still keep going there? And if you don't, let's redirect it into something that you want to acquire. So we talked about our emergency fund. We talked about paying ourselves first. We talked about reviewing and picking our items. And then we talked about reviewing our expenses. Next is really just figuring out how much you want to allocate towards your goals. This really does all depend on how quick or slowly you want to achieve these goals. So you can either be very aggressive or you could take a slower pace. It's really all to you. It's all very personal. And this is why it's called personal finance. It's all based on what you would like to achieve and what your goals are. So whether you're choosing to do a no buy year or a strategic buy year for 2025, just remember that the goals that you set are for you, for nobody else. And I feel like if you put a plan behind it, you'll reach it. So that is it for this video. I really shied away from these kind of topics, but 2025, we're going all in. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if this is a buy year or a no buy year for you. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.